All right, we'll call the meeting to order, please, with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call, Mr. Lombard?
Ullum.
Yes.
Odie. Saxer. Scott. Bell.
All right, if there are no changes that need to be made to the agenda, I would entertain a motion to approve that as presented, please.
So move.
There's been a first and a second. All of those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. No conflict of interest disclosure or waiver requests this evening. Takes us to approval of the minutes from our May 13th and May 28th meetings. I would entertain a motion to approve those, please.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All of those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. No community input tonight. That takes us to financial items, bills and claims. Mr. Lundberg.
Okay, I would, any questions from the board, specific on things? I had just a couple items noted, and then I just had a couple comments that I'm seeing throughout the year that you guys have probably seen also with expenses as we go through the building maintenance costs have risen substantially, just the repairs and maintenance and contractual agreements that we have with various things. So I mean, repairs this year in the buildings was $250,000. And it's a sign of the times, obviously, that we all know that when you call somebody to fix something at your house or your shop or whatever, it's extremely expensive anymore. So I just wanted to point that out. And you see it every month in the bills and claims with the various repair guys, the Kerrs and Blaines of the world, Johnson Controls. Those are substantial numbers every month. Page 2, the architectural fees with Arc Inc., $125,000 for the East Side Elementary that we were just plugging into the capital projects fund for right now and running at a deficit, and then the final payment on the high school addition. Maybe that project is over. I didn't have much noted. Teach Well Solutions, $471,000 of services. Last quarterly payments on OT and PT and the autism contract, and then monthly Career Academy. There was several months involved there, March, April, May, for a total of $471,000. We had one bond payment to U.S. Bank of $128,300. Total bills were $1,075,940. Advance payment breakdown of $7,245 is listed. Probably enough extra duty pays to drive you crazy. Pay vouchers of $146,000 this month. We had this month of June that we also have 2 additional payments that we pay our staff, pay in lieu of personal days. $112,200. That amount went up, not this past contract, but a contract ago. We raised it from $250 to $300, so that's reflected in the $112,000. Relatively the same as it been in past years with the raise. The same with unused sick days. $61,350. That went from $50 a day that we pay for those to $75 a day. So that was reflected in the increased number of 61,000. There wasn't any, really, to speak of any additional people that claim that. There's not a lot of wants and needs out there for any money. I don't think pay is not a motivator anymore. Lunch, school, food service accounts, there are a lot of refunds in the listing, so it was a long listing of $127,132. Along with my comment on the pay is not a motivator anymore, you, in the body of your agenda this month, you'll see a listing of deduct days that will reflect that, I think.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion to approve the bills and claims as presented, please.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Financial report, Mr. Lundberg.
Okay, the cash report for the month of May is substantially better than it was for the month of April. Coming into the month, we had 5.2 million, total receipts of 14.8 million in the month of May. Big tax draw. In the middle of that spreadsheet, you will see that all the funds are paying back the general fund for the cash flow loans that they had during the year. Capital outlay transferred $656,000. The bond redemption fund $24,000 to pay back temporary interfund transfers between the funds, so they're all even. The capital outlay fund had the operating transfer of $1.4 million. As you recall, that was budgeted at $1.1 million. Part of our solution to our budget enrollment shortfall, we increased that $300,000 to $1.4 million. Total disbursements for the month of May, $4,235,000, left $15,772,000 in cash at the end of the month. $11.5 million was in the general fund, $1.4 million in the capital outlay fund, $1.9 million in the special education fund, $1.3 million in the bond redemption fund, $62,000 in the enterprise fund. $15,793,000 is itemized on the next two pages. $14,793,000. Of that, $12.4 million is in property taxes that came in this month. Investment report of $3.6 million at just under 5%. Higher interest rates, as you probably notice, are also create a little bit of a good thing for us, that we're able to invest our excess funds at a rate of 5%, which the last few years we've had basically little or no investment income. So that will continue to help us in our finances with those rates staying up. Payroll for the month of May was $2,801,000. And then on the financial reports through the month of May, just about done with the fiscal year, 91.67% of the fiscal year complete. You can see on the revenues, we're all about 1% higher than they were at the same time last year. So I don't have anything really out of line. Remember that the general fund will be down $1 million with the enrollment shortfall. On the expenditure side, the general fund is coming in at this time at 89.17% versus 90.53% last year. So 1.36% less than it was at last year, and last year came in at just under 100%, 99.9. We're hoping to get that number to 1.5 or 1.6%, as we talked about during the preliminary budget. So it's at 1.4 right now. See how the month of June comes out. Special education fund is at 93.6% versus 91% last year, running a couple percent higher than last year. This will require us the need to make a supplement in the special education fund in the second meeting in June for sure, probably around $250,000. Food service fund shows a loss of $562,000. There'll be a few more things affect that at the end of the year. Not much though. It'll be in its $500,000 loss. as we talked about during the preliminary budget, that spend down of our cash needs to be eliminated. This next year will be eliminated. And then lastly, the trust and agency fund had $256,000 in it. That's all I had.
Thank you. Any questions on the financial report this evening? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve as presented, please.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All of those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
General business, administration reports, Administrative Center, Superintendent Larson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of items to update the board on here this evening. Currently in the process of our strategic planning review, revision, evaluation cycle. Just wanted to share with the board, looking at spending a little additional time here over the summer and the fall evaluating and analyzing feedback, comments, survey data, all of those things. And quite frankly, it is really to align our strategic plan in terms of a review perspective to BV Vision 2040. So our long-range facility plan is BV Vision 2040. If we do that and we adopt our strategic plan, then it can be 25 to 30, 30 to 35, 35 to 40, and it directly aligns to BV Vision 2040. So in addition to spending a little additional time utilizing AI, et cetera, to evaluate feedback and the comments, it also helps align to our long-range plan. So that's one item that I just wanted to note, and that would be our plan moving forward regarding our strategic plan. Budget process, you'll receive the public budget hearing in July. At that point in time, you will have the ability to take action or defer action, but you'll have that in front of you in July. Policy update, we'll discuss just a couple of things here this evening in terms of sections of the policy manual, and then at our next meeting, we'll have our first readings. Those will be redlined versions of each of those respective policies, and then potential action again in July. East Side Elementary, our naming facilities committee will be put together here real shortly, and then we'll work through that respective process. July 8th is the date that we expect to release the bid specs, and then August 8th is our anticipated open date, or what we have scheduled for the open date, and then we will look to award that bid at our first meeting in August, with construction starting shortly thereafter here throughout the early fall. With the project being completed end of June 2026, open for the 26-27 school year. Just a special thank you to our custodial staffs of buildings and grounds, maintenance departments. Summertime is the time where we deep clean and renovate and remodel and do all of those respective things. So just certainly want to extend a big thank you to them for all of their additional efforts and work here over the course of the summer. And then as we begin to think about next fall, August 21st is our first day for students grades 1 through 12. August 23rd is our first day for our junior kindergarten and kindergarten students, just like we did the COVID keep of having our kindergartners come in on that Wednesday and Thursday. That first week for one-on-ones with their teachers has been really well received, so they will be doing that. And then the first day for early childhood next fall is August 26th. Madam Chair, that's all I have. Would certainly entertain any questions that you have.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Larson. Mr. Lundberg, anything additional tonight? All right, I think it's probably just easier to say, is there anything any of you guys have to share tonight? All right, I'll just do it that way. All right, takes us to board policy. Superintendent Larson.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So discussion is the first item within the process, and I guess I would just note there are a number of policies that are getting just small tweaks and or small revisions. First and foremost, Section A, evaluation of instructional program, minor cleanup. We need to strike, including North Central Association. We no longer utilize NCA for accreditation pieces. Section B, again, minor cleanup, just strike support and, it's just a language thing. Organizational meeting, minor addition. I'd like to add number 13, publish all required annual notifications. And the reason I don't want to list all of the annual notifications is because now they change, they change with legislation and those things. So just a simple policy statement of all the annual notifications. We'll clean that one up. In terms of compensation and expenses, minor cleanup. In addition to compensation, board members will receive a travel allowance as authorized by the State Board of Finance. You guys aren't receiving the travel allowance, so I would like to strike that. Of course, we reimburse, but we don't provide said allowance, so that's what that would be. Organizational chart, just some minor adjustments with our current staffing approach. In policy CDA, our AED policy, just want to include the additional AED locations that we have added. Fiscal management, DLC travel, minor adjustment to reflect statutory change. So this last past legislative session, what they did, they always set a state mileage rate, and then there was an out-of-state mileage rate, and then there were in-district and out-of-state meal rates and all those things. Now, basically, what they've said, as I understand it, is it's the federal rate, and they established that in like October. So I want our policy to be reflective so that we have enough flexibility to change that when they change that, if that makes sense. DN, school properties, again, minor change. There's, in this last legislative session, they raised the value from 500 to 2,500 regarding surplus property requiring advertising for bids. Section E is, again, that AED item. It's just a cross-reference. Facilities development. Minor language cleanup. The building program will be based upon specific board policies and be modified as necessary to conform to changes in the curriculum, et cetera. Again, just a little minor language cleanup in FB. Personnel is, again, that location of the AEDs that's cross-referenced. Negotiations, section H, I have no recommended revisions at this point in time. Section I for instruction, again, minor cleanup, strike 962.5, because that specifies the number of instructional hours. Well, the reality is there's different instructional hours set for the different grade levels, so it'll just be a minor cleanup and read at a minimum state requirements, so it's, again, just a minor cleanup in language. Section J, JC, attendance centers. Again, a minor cleanup associated with our current educational structure, closure of Valley Springs Elementary. That comes off of the attendance center and then also off of the maps. So that's what those respective updates are. Open enrollment, there will be some minor cleanup language to align with the new form that DOE has produced, and a couple of, again, minor language tweaks in that. Student absences and excuses, there will be, again, some cleanup, and also we are updating it to align to our coding. So our school system has various codes in terms of excused, exempt, etc. We want our policy to accurately reflect the coding that is being utilized for practices. So we are adding the exemption component to align to what our practice currently is. Within absences and excuses. Community relations, facility use, some minor updates and adjustments to clarify expenses, including some additional spaces, and then update costs. That one is one that I will ask you to read and or take a look at very carefully, because facilities are a community thing, and this does impact, obviously, community utilization of facilities, so please take a look at that. I'll provide you with the administrative recommendation in the red line language, and then we'll certainly sort through any things associated with that one. Section L, education relations. Again, just a minor cleanup. We need to strike the NCA aspect of that respective policy, as we don't do that. Again, the red line versions will be provided in your board packet at the second meeting in June, and you'll see if it's red and struck, then it'll be coming out of the policy, and if it's highlighted, then that would be an addition. So certainly we'll field any questions we have at that point in time as well.
Quick question, section B, number 2, is that saying that it's incumbent upon the board to publish all annual required notifications and without naming them out, or does that go to you guys as administration?
Right. So what that says basically is you're gonna do all of these things at your organizational meeting. So that policy right now says, official depository, like all those standard things that you have to do at your annual organizational meeting. All that simply does is that it states that we will publish all required annual notifications in our July meeting. So in our July meeting, you're gonna see a FERPA notification, you're gonna see, a number of notifications, policy notifications that tells people bullying and harassment is one. We will do them. And I'd like to keep it generalized enough so that it simply states all annual notifications, because they keep adding them or changing, so it allows us some flexibility with having to go back to the policy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Anything else for tonight? Otherwise, thank you, Superintendent Larson. We'll wait for those for the next meeting. All right, general business, I would entertain a motion to approve items 1 through 7, please. So moved. There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Personnel, I would entertain a motion to approve items 1 through 9, please. So moved. Second. There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Communication, building permit applications are there for you to review. Also, there are 3 thank you notes under the Board of Education section, so please review those at your convenience. That takes us to board reports. Does anyone have a formal board report they'd like to share tonight?
Yes, Madam Chair. The Safety Committee met on May 29th at 7 a.m. Here at the high school in the community room. We started out talking a lot about how I think by and large it's the good trends, good indicators. So I think post-COVID, there's a lot of things that were seemingly problematic trends or things that we're keeping an eye on. And a lot of those were getting better. So Officer Sarda wasn't there, but Chief Steffel was able to step in and talk about both community and school trends that were, in his view, getting better. That being said, the committee is looking at more data-driven decision-making and data tracking to help kind of say, is it anecdotal improvements or real improvements? This summer, they'll do local law enforcement training at BVSD. I think it's really key that we keep doing that and keep that connection open with law enforcement to maintain standards and make sure that we're all on the same page. Updating the safety manual and reunification process for the 24-25 year. That's being worked on as we speak, as we are right now. The classroom addition project was discussed. The transition's gone well. There's been some new space challenges, and I think there's some issues that have just kind of, after working through it for a year, we've kind of talked to the contractors and said, now we got to really fix these problems that have been kind of persisting for a year. But all in all, it's been a pretty good transition process from a safety standpoint. The safety committee, we talked about next year with our public service announcements for next year, and those will be distributed in December. And then we talked about SB 203, the current law that was passed this last year, and our current recommendation not to enforce this permissible legislation. Threat assessments with respective providers for mental health needs were talked about, and how does that support the district, both middle school, high school, intermediate level, whatever is needed, and that seems to be going well. And then we have our next meeting in the fall of 25. Anything else?
Thank you. Anyone else have a formal board report tonight? All right. Hearing none, that takes us to the end of our scheduled agenda. I would entertain a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, and thank you everyone for coming.